Now, I wanted to address this to you first, Eddie. First, I will, it's just a pleasure to talk to you, Brother Conway. Don't get to learn a whole lot about my history. I'm 45 years old. It took the internet and people posting stuff to blogs and creating these websites for individuals like yourself that I'm just now being, I always knew about the Panthers' work, but didn't know all the names. So it's a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for the work that you was doing to fight for my rights and many others like me.
Okay.
What would you like to say to the public about your situation?
Well, I mean, I have been, locked up for the past 42 years. I was framed by a COINTELPRO operation as a result of exposing one of their key agents that worked in the state of Maryland and helped organize the Black Panther Party chapter. I have never had the opportunity to have a fair trial. I've been struggling for the last 42 years trying to get justice in my case. And obviously, I need support. I need people to talk about my case. I need people to, write letters for, the encouragement of it, give me parole, send me copies. I need, activities that, like this, that will go on, that will bring to light the plight of myself and other political prisoners that are being held across the United States of America. And, so toward that end, people can help, in small ways or big ways. They can organize or they can write or they can do whatever, right? But I think what's important right now for me is that I'm really concerned about the amount of people that are incarcerated in America. Obviously, it's like 1 out of every 4 prisoners in the world is locked up in America, and about 75% of us are people of color. And this strikes me as the concentration camps in Nazi Germany in the 30s seem to be occurring here in America, and I think people are like overlooking it because they look at it in terms of maybe a criminal problem or either a racial problem, but not necessarily a genocidal problem. But it seems to me that genocide is the end result of the continuing locking up of all the young black males, or either bringing, and black females also, or either bringing them under the control of the criminal justice system through parole, probation, home monitoring, community control, whatever, and actually have them in systems that at some point will allow them to be, if not removed from society completely, marginalized in such a way they'll end up starving to death. And you'll look at a situation similar to what you looked at when you looked at the Native Americans in the 1860s and saw them in the western areas in the vast plains, and then all of a sudden now you see very few. We're heading down that path, and this whole prison industrial complex is part of that process. And I'm thinking we might be missing that as a people. And I think we, just due to the fact that of the amount of crime in our community and our concern about that, we might be missing the fact that, they're coming for us today. They might come for you tomorrow.
I feel like, they definitely been coming for us. They have never stopped coming for us, and that is why we see so many numbers. Well, the United States has the largest prison population on the planet. They can't point to any other country. But what I found interesting though, well, first I want to go to you, Sister Stevenson. I don't want us to dominate the conversation, but what are your thoughts in layman terms? Should a person understand when someone like Brother Marshall talks about the prison industrial complex? Because he says that, people don't understand it. Or can you educate them in layman terms?
Yeah. One, we should understand it because as people of African descent, most of us know someone or have someone in our immediate family that has been affected by the system. And so I think that there's this collective denial going on, and I agree that because some of our communities are like overrun with drugs and violence and guns, you know, people believe that, okay, the end result should be, you know, imprisonment and incarceration, but we have to actually deal with those situations in our community. We can't allow policing or the system to deal with it. They're not effectively dealing with it. I've seen 14, 15, 16-year-old kids in adult lockup. That's a problem, okay? Because they've already set these young men on a path that probably will result either in death or death by incarceration. So it's something that we should really understand, because it's not, I think it's not an issue that most of us are very far removed from. You know, if in particular, if you live in an urban area, you know someone or someone in your family has been affected by that system. You know, we have to wake up and we have to just make some decisions to do something about this issue. And it's not just about the prisons, it's about the streets. We have to confront what's happening in our community. Okay, and if a 13-year-old feels compelled to go out and sell drugs for economic reasons, we need to maybe be taking care of those situations so that you don't have children forced to do that. Because a lot of times that's it. People tend to focus on individuals who are out there for greed. A lot of the folks I encounter were out there because they had to be. They didn't see any other options. And that's something that we firmly have to address. The middle class has left the community, turned their backs on the community, and left pretty much poor folks to perish. You know, so there is some responsibility that needs to be had or taken up.
Brother Conway, now I read in your bio and it says that you discovered, you know, COINTELPRO or elements of it at your branch. Could you give us a history lesson on that? And what year was that? And I note that you were locked up a year after this discovery.
Yeah, I think pretty much the Black Panther Party in the state of Maryland was established in 1968, and it was just kind of like it took a minute to get started, but apparently the National Security Agency, which is located in the Washington region, sent one of their agent provocateurs over to become part of the Black Panther Party in Maryland, and put him in a position to become a captain. He went to California and got the training and started interacting with the National Coordinating Committee of the Black Panther Party, and he was in place, and he brought a number of other agent provocateurs in from the local police department, from apparently the FBI and other agencies. We never discovered all of them, but it was at least 5 of them. And they were pretty much running the Black Panther Party like it was a social club. And other people, as more serious people joined, we basically kind of like whipped the group into shape and kind of like got some discipline and put some programs in place and started working. But in the process, a lot of strange events were occurring, events that indicated that there was somebody inside the organization either misleading or misdirecting some of the younger and newer members. One of the things I think that was happening was that identification files were being made on everybody that came through or touched base or checked in or tried to network. And eventually it led to me, at that time I was like the lieutenant of security, and I was kind of like investigating the background of most people. And finally I got to the point where I started investigating the defense captain itself, and found out that, well, most of the stuff that we knew about him was bogus, and, upon further investigation, it was like that he didn't really find out about. I sent for investigation team from the National, and they sent one down from New York. And after running an investigation, we discovered that he actually, in fact, was an agent, and he worked for the National Security Agency. And during that time, he fled the country and went to Canada and infiltrated Stokely Carmichael's organization, the All People's African Revolutionary Party. And he was discovered up there shortly later, and he fled to the Caribbean. But because I targeted him and kind of like exposed him, then they opened a file on me, and within about a year, I was in the prison system.